Now there's no interruptions.
Thank you for the hydrate, Sonic. And welcome everybody to Saved Games Rebooted, Reimagined Saved Games, podcast episode 1. I am joined today by Captain Greig or Greg. My daughter was like, "Who's Captain Greg?" And I was like, "Oh,
Gray.
Gray. Okay, Gray.
Really?
Let's go with Gray. Captain Gray, Flat Cap Dapper Pastor, and Neil. How do you pronounce your last name, Neil?
Sauvageau.
Sauvageau. Okay, awesome. And Night Saber. Night X Saber.
Hello, hello.
How are y'all doing tonight?
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Doing well. How about
All right.
yourself?
Pretty good. I'm excited.
Happy Memorial.
This is going to be very fun, I hope. And something new that I haven't done before. I don't know if many of you guys have been on a multi-person podcast. I've usually just done me and one other person, so it should be interesting. All right.
The
Well,
most I've ever done an episode with was 3.
3?
This is fun.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, let's start. We'll go around the circle on the screen here and do intros. Pretty much everybody in my chat here would already know me, but I'm Scott, Born Again Gamer. I do the online live stream, and we do some in-person tournament stuff and family gaming education stuff around my town here, trying to get parents more involved with gaming with their kids and knowledgeable about gaming habits and what's going on out in the world of gaming and stuff like that. And now doing another podcast. Captain Gray.
Hi, I'm Sammy Taylor, or you'll find me online using Captain Gray. I am a freelance game developer, and I just really like games a whole lot. And I'm, Christian, been working for Christian Game Studios for the last, 8 years now. Yeah, happy to be here.
Thanks. And Flat Cap.
Yeah, Flat Cap Dapper Pastor. I just celebrated 20 years of graduation from seminary. And
Woo!
yeah, I know, it was pretty cool. And although a whole 8 of us from my graduating class showed up, and I didn't know anybody that was from the graduating class that showed up. But I had a lot of fun anyway. And like I say, I stream on my own channel, Flat Cap Dapper Pastor. You'll find me on socials that way. And over there, I'm usually reading the Bible, occasionally doing a few other things like sewing stream or something else, cooking stream, something real life that's going on.
Workout streams too recently, eh?
Oh yeah, yes, that's right. I'm doing the 90-day workout challenge with. So I finish the Bible and we go do a workout, which is just humiliating on so many levels. That's what I to see as me work out. But I've been having fun with that because I'm bored half the time when I'm doing a workout, so I entertain myself. And if you want to see that, you can come hang out. Otherwise, I've got 2 other channels. One that is my fish cam. I got several fish cams. Actually, right now, there's a robin that built a nest, so I put a cam on the robin. I'm waiting for the chicks to hatch. I think that's going to be pretty fun to look at.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then I work with The Church Digital. I work over there helping people to become digital missionaries and become better at what they're doing, whether they're in Twitch gaming or other places. And I do a podcast over there with all my friends who are in Twitch gaming. And I'm going to start gaming on that channel because I'm horrible and you want to come watch somebody just be horrible at something. So
Love it. Yeah. All right, Neil, go ahead.
Hey all, yep, Neil, working in game dev and a little bit of the TV film industry as well. But I've been doing that for 13, 14 years now. So been part of a couple indie companies, have my own as well, and mainly focused on RPGs. And we make, kind of turn-based JRPGs is the main focus, but we've done a few other things too. Worked with Sammy at Soma Games for a while as well. That was pretty sweet. We got several new things brewing, and few other things along those lines. But that's the main bread and butter.
Awesome to have you guys. And last but not least, Nightsaber. Tell us a little about you.
So I go by X Saber or NYT X Saber. The Knight kind of has become sort of an addition that everyone else is kind of giving me, so I'm kind of just gonna start adopting that. Um, my realm of work is not in video games or in entertainment, although I do stream. I do a lot of variety streams on my channel. NYT X Saber is my channel. But currently my professional employment is as a range safety officer for a gun range that is a few tons over.
Very cool. Okay. I wasn't sure. I looked at your Discord profile, and it underneath your name it said unpredictable liability. So that's what I put in our chat command for when our users type podcast in chat command. It says Nightsaber unpredictable
that is
liability.
my physical embodiment is the unpredictable liability.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. I'm just so excited to have you all here and to be doing this. Let's jump in with our first question. This one was submitted by myself, and I'm curious what everybody's favorite retro game is. Now, that might look different for some of us. You know, I'm 40, so retro games to me are like anywhere from like NES up to, you know, PlayStation or so. But for some, you know, retro could be PS3, or for some, retro could be Atari. So I'm curious to see what everybody says. I'm not going to go first because I did my intro first. So we'll slide over and start with Sammy.
All right. Oh man, it's so hard to choose a favorite. I definitely have grown up playing a lot of retro games. I started on N64 era, started them young, but my dad had like the Commodore and the Amiga and stuff.
Ooh.
But I'm gonna have to go with PlayStation 2 Dark Cloud series. Warm place in my heart. Such a good game.
I would see those all the time in like gaming magazines and stuff, and I always wanted to play them, and I've never played one, which is crazy. I think I have them. I think I have them on disc here in my house somewhere, but I've just never had a chance to throw them in. I should try it sometime.
They're good. I got to play 1 and 2. 2's money.
Oh man,
I love 2 so much.
wow.
Remake sometime.
Spiritual successor. Make a spiritual successor on the wish list.
Oh yeah. No more just like HD upgrades for games. We've got too many of those.
Oh, yeah.
True. Like full remakes. There's a few good ones out there. But yeah.
All right. Flacca, what you got?
Yeah. I'm gonna go to arcade retro. So
yeah.
I didn't even play this on a console because consoles weren't a thing yet. Maybe there was Atari starting when I played this. Ye Are Kung Fu.
Oh.
Oh.
I was at a campground for the summer, and they had a small arcade in there, and myself and probably 2 other kids played that game so much we broke the button, so you couldn't do it anymore. So I actually had to learn how to play and fire the buttons left-handed. So I was doing this to be able to do it, and so Kung Fu game that is before all the stuff like Mortal Kombat and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So you get 1 life. That's it. You don't get these extra lives. There's no start over. You defeat 3 enemies without getting hit once. You can gain another life.
Okay.
I think level 12 was the highest I ever got because as soon as you die, you start over at level 1. There's no reboot. There's no relife. There's no put a quarter in and start over.
Yeah.
You start over every time. I would love to have that game with just respawn. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Man.
That's cool. Yeah.
I'm sure somebody's.
Go ahead.
I'm sure somebody's messed with that idea too, emulated it, and like, oh, and now you have lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Game Genie codes or something. Yeah. My dad got me into arcade at a young age, but we emulated quite a few of them at home before I knew what emulation was. I was like, he's like, look, we got arcade games on the computer. I was like, whoa, like Galaga and stuff like that. And
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Well,
That's cool.
Centipede was the one that was so
Oh.
hard to emulate
Yeah.
at home because you didn't have that ball to roll.
Yeah.
Like you just roll that sucker and you're sliding all over the place. That was so much fun.
yeah, I have played
Man.
a Centipede arcade cabinet with the ball, and it makes it so much better.
Mm. There's a lot of arcade. I don't think about those as much, but there's some good ones out there that are classic. Oh, it's good.
Yeah. All right. What do you got, Neil?
Retro. How retro do we get?
As retro as you want.
I always go to my kind of first start, which would be the original Zelda on the NES. That's my top. I did play Pong first though. That was classic. But arcades. Now you're talking about arcades. The one I
Yeah.
played the most was Gauntlet with 2 to 3
Oh.
friends.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
We spent so much on that. Oh, so good.
It's such a cool
Yeah,
idea for a
good
game, too.
memories.
Multiplayer in the...
Multiplayer. And then you have like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and all the other kind of beat 'em ups that came afterwards that were all classic experiences at the arcade
Yeah.
for my childhood. So
That's interesting.
So-
What did you just call it? You said it, and now I've completely lost it with the 4 players.
Gauntlet.
Gauntlet. Thank
Gauntlet
you.
4-player co-op. Yep.
We were at an arcade recently, and my son and I played on a Minecraft Dungeons arcade machine that was essentially the
Yes.
same idea. It was really cool, and it spit
totally.
out these cards that you would get equipment that you could scan and equip your character. It was really neat. I never made that connection that it's like almost the exact same thing as Gauntlet.
Totally. Especially the arcade version.
Yeah,
It's just quick, fast, and 4 people, giant screen.
yeah,
But the cards are neat.
yeah.
That's good stuff.
All right, X Saber. I'm gonna call you all sorts of different random names now going forward. I won't know what to say.
That's
but-
fun. It'll be like a game of roulette.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna date myself a little bit because I'm probably the youngest person here. But one of the first ever games that I played was on the Sega Genesis, and it was Earthworm Jim.
Oh,
And it was one of my favorite games as a kid, just because I thought it was just so funny looking, and that really got me into the run and gun style.
Yeah, it's kind of classic, like Nickelodeon, classic like old school Nickelodeon humor.
Yes.
They're very like, slapsticky.
I remember
very.
I remember seeing the copy of Earthworm Jim 2 at a GameStop and begging my parents to let me buy it.
That's awesome.
Very funny games too. The writing was awesome.
And
I
that,
look back at it now, and it's just like, oh my gosh, I wish I had been able to appreciate this cleverness when I was such a child.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, and like the controls were pretty good too. You go back to some old games, and the
Yeah.
controls were hard, but Earthworm Jim kind of worked. Similar, I was playing the other night on stream. I played Ninja Gaiden for the NES, and I was like, it's a hard game, but the controls work. Like, you know what you're doing when you play it. It's just so easy to control, and the character does all these cool moves, and it's a classic. Yeah. All right. Well, I guess it's my turn. I have a really hard time picking between like any of the Mario series because it's just so classic, or Pokemon, like old school red, blue, yellow, like original generation.
I learned to
one.
read on Pokemon Yellow.
right. Like it was like it blew my mind that you had this little cartridge with this whole world of collectible like creatures, and you could train them and trade them with people and connect your Game Boys together and like trade back and forth. I was like, what? So I mean, as hard as it is to say Mario's not my favorite, I think I have to say it's Pokemon, just like for the way that it just kind of like changed how I thought about how a game could be. It was really cool. Yeah. Very cool. Well, thanks, guys. That's quite the variety of different games. Gauntlet takes me back. I think the first time I played Gauntlet was when there was a remake that came out like mid 90s or early 2000s, and then I was like, what's this? And then I played the original. That's very cool. Flatcap asked this question: what's the first game that you waited in line to buy? And maybe we'll let you answer first, Flatcap.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. So it was before there was GameStop,
Mm-hmm.
and there might have been Toys R Us, but Toys R Us was not open 24/7.
No.
So you weren't going to get the games when they came out unless you were there in the morning. And we had, it's not a Walmart, but a similar type of store that was a regional store that had every game that was under glass with a little lock that you could go to. And they were open 24 hours a day. So they were actually going to release it at midnight, which was an amazing thing. I never heard of them doing that. So I waited there, and nobody else was. I was like the only person waiting for the original Zelda that came out in the gold,
Gold.
and it was $60 brand new opening day. No benefits, no nothing else. $60. I'm paying it. The person's looking at me like I'm crazy. Why are you spending $60? Most games were only, I want to say 35, 40 at the time. And this one came out and it was $60. And I'm like, I'm getting it. So I bought it. I went home immediately and I played it. And I went to school the next day, told my friends all about it because nobody else had bought it. I was the only weirdo that was waiting in line back then to buy it. And I wish I still had that gold copy, but in college I needed, food money and it went out the door.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that was so much classic. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was trying to find
the
mine. I've
commercials,
got
man.
it around here somewhere. Yeah.
the commercials that built the hype for that was so good. Yeah.
Oh well, I had Nintendo Power too, so I was
Yes.
reading all of the previews of it months and months and months in advance, and the game did not disappoint.
Oh man, Nintendo
No,
Power.
that was one of those. Like they built Mario, and did hype on Mario, but the Zelda that they built the hype for that. It was like the original like massive hype machine. There was lines, and it was also it built up expectations, and then it met and then it exceeded those. And everyone's like, oh. And then like
Yeah.
there's a second world.
Yeah.
Just stuff like
So-
that was just so good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah. Neat. How about you, Neil?
I'm trying to think of waiting in line. I had a few times we went kind of opening day. I'm not sure if I waited though. I had friends that waited for Halo, friends that had done a few things like that. Like I keep thinking the Zelda Link to the Past, that was one of those I had to get on opening day. Because the original NES Zelda I got a little bit later, just save up for it and got it. But yeah, the Link to the Past, I was like ready for it, day one, gonna get that thing. What was the other ones? I think same thing. I usually it's the day one. I don't know if I waited in line, but I always got stuff that I really wanted on day one. The other one would be Final Fantasy 3/6.
Ooh.
It was called 3 in America, so
Yeah.
I was like, I gotta get this because I played 4 and I was like, this is the best story ever. And then they made 6, and I was like, that's it. I'm there day one. We're gonna buy this thing.
And it blows four. Like 4 is a good game, but 6 is just massive compared, right? And like
yeah.
the number of characters and the storyline.
Totally. Yeah, it ramped it up, and then all the gameplay was tuned up, and then you had all these button commands that were so fun.
Yeah.
Oh, it's good. Yeah.
The Blitz.
Well, maybe waiting in line is also dating me because I remember after that they started doing pre-buys before
pre-sales.
release, and you could do that. Like when I was growing up, you couldn't pre-buy anything. You had to wait in line. So
Yeah.
That does remind me. I think I did go super early for the missed PC game at Electronic Boutique.
Oh.
So that was funny. Like at the store in the mall that you can only get PC games, and they had like discs, and
oh yeah,
then they actually had floppies. You're like, what? Yeah, stuff like that. So that reminds me of that store, but that store also disappeared pretty quick over the years.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's cool. All right, Nightsaber.
It's funny. If I didn't pick Earthworm Jim as my favorite retro game, I was gonna pick Pokemon Yellow because that was the second game I ever played.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I remember waiting in line specifically at not. It wasn't even a GameStop. It was like almost like a novelty, like just like a hobby store. But I remember waiting in line there for Pokemon Emerald,
Ooh.
and I still have that original copy to this day.
Oh,
And
good for you.
I know exactly where it is. I have to in the box and everything. That is like my pride. That is my pride and joy.
That's
That
awesome.
one is worth so much.
Money.
That is the one Pokemon game I didn't buy, and it kills me because I can't afford to buy an original cartridge.
I know. I see the price of the original cartridge
Hi.
like without the box, and it's like I have the box and the manual. What can I get for mine?
Mm-hmm.
But then I remember how much I played it, and I'm like, nah, I'm gonna hold on to it.
I saw a picture recently. Actually, a guy was going through like customs, and he's like, apparently the customs agents don't respect the fact that this packaged game was worth like hundreds of dollars, and it was like a smashed, like PSA like rated, or what do you call those ranked or whatever copy of Pokemon Yellow in the box, and they had like broken open the
That's
plastic. Right, that's
Oh,
crazy.
that's heartbreaking.
No.
Yeah.
Sue.
So yeah.
Well, yeah, that's like that. Actually, they destroyed property that was valuable.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
that would fall under
weird.
destruction of
Graded.
property.
Graded. Yeah. Yeah. It was crazy. It was like wow.
Well, a collectible that made not worth the same,
Yeah.
and there's no going back on it.
You can't. Yeah. What do you do? Like go find him another one off eBay or something, and
Sure.
yeah.
I don't know if they
Crazy.
would want to pay that price.
Yeah, on some of that stuff.
Yeah.
I can't believe some of the old classic games that are really high end now because they're getting thousands on some of those.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But all that pricing increase of all the games has just reinstilled the fact that that Gen 3 Pokemon is the best generation ever created.
I have a copy of Emerald, and sometimes I go to the pawn shop and I see they have like copies of Emerald there, and it's like $200, and I'm like, oh, I could use $200, and I'm like, no, I would instantly regret it. As soon as the money was gone, I'd be like, where's my copy of Emerald at? Well,
Definitely one of the best games ever.
yeah, the Gen 3s are pretty good, yeah. I'm still a Gen 1 diehard, though. I don't know. Generation 2 is good, too, and I really like the remake they did of Heart Gold, Soul Silver on the DS. That was fantastic.
Yeah, those are so good.
But I just always end up going back to, actually, I've got one right here, which is funny. I always go back to just popping it in a cartridge and playing it. Like, this is my custom Game Boy. I like took apart, I ordered like a case and like white buttons and like the clear start and select, and yeah.
What?
Oh, that's beautiful.
Gosh,
Yeah.
that sounds like fun.
I've never waited in line for a game. Like Flat Cap said, but I think the reason is I never had a current gen console. I was always like a generation behind. We would always buy them used or get them as hand-me-downs from cousins and stuff like that. So I never had the opportunity to go to the store and buy a brand new game until I was older. And by the time I was older, everything was pre-orders. So the first game I think that we pre-ordered, my wife ordered it for me. She ordered Zelda Skyward Sword with the golden controller and the orchestra CD. That was really cool. And I also pre-ordered Destiny 1 and like waited months and months for that. Played the beta and then was like, now I have to wait more time before I can play the full game. So yeah, that's my
I
pre-order
was the same way. Like, we were always a little bit behind on getting the consoles growing up, and I remember waiting in line with my sister so she could get the 3DS the 1st night.
Consoles. That's a big one.
Yeah.
But I think the first game I pre-ordered was in college, and it was like Animal Crossing Happy Home Designer, I think. But that didn't have a line. I think the first pre-order that had a line was either Breath of the Wild Or it wasn't until I started pre-ordering every FromSoft game that came out. I remember there was a pretty long line for Sekiro.
Oh gosh, Sekiro.
But that was just like I had already bought it. I was just waiting in line to pick it up.
Right. Yeah. And there is like something cool about that, going and waiting, and the community aspect, right? We don't get that now with pre-ordering. You got to go there and
Yeah.
talk
True.
to. There was other people there waiting for the same thing you were
Yeah.
waiting for, and it was a really cool
Oh,
thing
yeah.
that you don't get in too many other places now, other than like conventions and things, or conferences and stuff.
It does
Well,
remind
there's
me.
also so much variety that
Mm.
you need to be in a circle of friends playing the same genre to be
Yeah.
excited about the same games. Because otherwise, there's a new game on on a different platform that you might not play, and so you're not going to be paying attention to all of them.
Yeah.
There's a lot more variety, so
Yeah.
a lot more niche.
Mhm.
Let's just say earlier though, one thing it reminds me of is be waiting in line for movies. That was a
Oh, yeah.
big thing,
I did do that.
and then that was kind of more normal. But I guess yeah, maybe the wide stream kind of cool factor of movies had a lot more people waiting. But there was some big games that definitely had waits in line. It just went away when they had pre-sales, because pre-sales, they're so huge. Oh my gosh.
Being at the midnight releases of most of the Harry Potter books.
Yes.
Like that was a golden era, and it would be kind of fun if they did that again. But at the same
Yeah.
time,
Event-based. Get people together. That sounds cool.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah, I wish I never actually did any of those things. Going like, I know friends I heard friends be like, "Oh, we're going, Lord of the Rings is coming out. We're going to dress up
Oh,
as
yeah.
like Lord of the Rings characters and wait in line at the movie theater." And I was like, "Man, I don't have a costume. I don't have anything. I don't have money to buy the ticket. I'm like, I'm missing out on so much." But yeah, that stuff is very cool. Yeah. All right, let's move down the list. Our next topic that we were going to talk about is the Switch 2. We have had, just in our chat on my stream, many, like multiple, I shouldn't say many, but multiple people, chatting about the travesty that it is that Nintendo would like say out loud or in their documentation that they could brick your machine. And I'm just curious what you guys think about that.
And it's specific for malicious intent or some behavior.
I
Where's the
haven't
line that goes with it.
I haven't read the whole thing, but it seems to me that it's if you modify your machine. And I don't know if that's
Ah,
only physically, only software, or one or the other.
yeah.
I myself, I'm not worried because I've never modded a machine before. So I'm like, I'm gonna buy a Switch 2 and they'll probably never brick it because I'm just gonna
Yeah.
play my games on it that I buy. And so I was curious if I'm the only one who thinks that way, if there's more outrage to be had than I'm having, but
Just to answer somebody in chat asking by brick the machine. My understanding is like, yeah, if you have a modified machine and go to their online servers, that they can flag you as like, hey, they've tampered with the files and like remotely shut down your device
gosh.
or access to your games.
yeah. Yeah, from what I
Now, if
gather,
that's-
they've been able to do this for years, is turn off your access to their servers. You would be banned, but you could still play on your machine locally in the past. It sounds to me like now they have not just that option, but also the option to completely disable your Switch so that you can't even turn it on anymore or something. I don't know. And
Crazy.
I'm like, guys, just because they have that ability doesn't mean they're going to do that to every person who downloads a free game, or one person said it's going to happen even if you use third-party controllers. I was like, there's no way, guys. There's
No
no way they're going to
way.
brick
There's
your
no way.
machine by plugging in a third-party controller. But I think there's a lot of the headlines are fear-mongering, like, clickbait,
For
click
sure.
this and read our
Totally.
story.
Yeah, they're going to be doing that. The fear mongerings, they always happen, which is sad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would think they're going to get bad press unless somebody does something nefarious that they can defend why they did it.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're just, I got a third party controller, I just opened it up and I downloaded a free this or whatever, but I'm not, you know, trying to cheat and raid the system or do anything else. I've just done a couple of modifications. I don't think they're going to bother you because
No.
it's not worth their time.
Yeah, I can't imagine it would be worth their time to chase down every user that uses a third party controller or even does homebrew. If you've unlocked it so that you can homebrew, but you're not modifying their software and their games and cheating at online games or whatever. I don't know. I guess we have to wait and see,
And
but
maybe,
I'm optimistic that
yeah.
it's not going to be as bad as some people think it is.
Well, maybe they're going the scare tactic route too, to make it sound like it, so that people won't try
Maybe.
to do anything nefarious. You know, maybe that's what it is. You know, the whole threat, like Napster, don't be sharing and downloading free stuff. We want to get paid for our stuff, so we'll threaten you to close your system. Then maybe people won't do something.
Yeah. Yeah, it could just be a scare tactic. That's true. Yeah.
I was wondering about that. Yeah, seems like a smart way to go. But thinking if they're getting bad press,
It
that's
seems, and who knows? Maybe it's just the squeaky wheel. Like I only see the bad headlines, and you see people coming into chat on the stream, and they're like, I'm not going to buy a Switch 2. I'm boycotting because they might brick it." And so I guess the negative is sometimes louder than the positive, but yeah, I'm not too personally too worried. It
Misinformation
sounds like,
spreads
oh yeah,
quickly.
so fast.
trouble.
Yeah.
Well,
So
yeah, because you run into that, like you were saying, you run into that problem with people who just read the headline but don't go to bother to read the whole article,
Of course.
and that's caused a lot of backlash. Not just for Nintendo, but just for other game studios in general.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear that I'm not the only one. But, yeah, we'll wait and see on that one. Yeah, so
I honestly would be appalled if they were to just go,
Yeah.
we're just gonna brick machines because why not? Because they're already catching enough heat for making a game $90.
yeah. I honestly am
Like
more
they're
annoyed
breaking
about
the
that than
cardinal
I am.
rule of keeping the games affordable.
Yeah, for family, right? Like, how are your families that you're gearing your systems towards gonna afford multiple
I
$90
don't know. I
games?
paid 60 for Zelda when that came out. What would that be
What's
at
up,
rated?
this-
Yeah, inflation. What's the
Yeah.
Sonic might know.
That's what I was
Sonic in
thinking,
chat
too.
might know what inflation is from that. Yeah, no, that's true. I already paid up in Canada here because we have our exchange rate is higher. It was $90 for me to buy Tears of the Kingdom when it came out, and I bought it anyway. But I'm usually only buying like 1 or 2 games a year, probably. It's
Right.
not too often that I buy a brand new full price game, or I'm buying them used, or I'm getting deals on whatever. I really like the fact that we have like Good Old Games and the Epic Store and Steam that give out
Yeah.
free games like once a month.
Oh, man,
Yeah, but
it's crazy.
yeah, I'll probably get a Switch too. I'm not worried about it. It's just a matter of actually saving up for it because it's a pretty big chunk of change. But
Yeah.
I never got Switch what my kids did, so I'll have to pay attention if they're starting to talk about getting a Switch too, and if they're running anything.
yeah. I was gonna bring something up and now I've forgotten, but I shouldn't sit and stew on it too long because dead air is no good. But it was something about the Switch, and I was like, I wanted
You
to bring
see,
up.
that's the thing is, I'm still not 100% sold on the Switch. Like, I understand what it's doing and like how it's working. It's Nintendo's new thing, and I know it's significantly better than the Wii U because God help the Wii U.
I have a
I
Wii
love
U.
the Wii
I
U.
have one sitting right on my desk beside me.
But my big thing is like, I can get a Steam Deck and play my favorite games, and
Yeah.
I have Steam Deck.
unrest-
Highly recommend.
and
It's
be
Yeah.
unrestricted and actually own the game that I purchased, as opposed to
Yep.
Nintendo, where I don't have the where I don't have the
Yes.
property rights
well,
to it.
actually,
You just triggered my memory on what I wanted to mention was that I heard that the Switch 2 games are actually not physically going to be on the cartridge. That a Switch 2
not all of them,
cartridge,
just some of them.
some of them?
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
That's what I heard. I was
That's
like,
They'll
what
be
okay.
maybe.
labeled clearly, but there's two different kinds. There's the ones that are the game key, which is
Yeah.
it's the license and the game isn't on it, kind of like how Steam works, that
Yeah.
it's a license. And then there's the ones that actually have the game on the cartridge.
Okay. Because I was going to say,
Although
they're still charging
everybody does a day
$90.
one patch anyway.
Yeah, that's true
Yeah.
too. Yeah, that you don't have the full game on a cartridge even when you have the game on the cartridge because you need to still download some stuff. But I know that in the original Switch, a big chunk of the cost of a game was those cartridges because they were custom and they were super expensive to make. It was like $40 or something like that just for the cartridge itself. And I was thinking, like, why would they do that another generation in a row and just have it be a license key and still charge you the huge, the
Yeah.
huge increase? But again, we'll have to see.
Yeah, we'll see if they play out.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Our next segment is something I'm looking forward to hearing more different games in the future, but we're going to kick off our first episode talking about a game made by a Christian game development studio, and it's called Gate Zero by the company is Bible X Games. And we saw this shown off. I think you probably saw it, Flat Cap, at Reach. They had a live demo there with the table with an employee from Bible X there showing it off. I had actually played the beta before going to Reach, and I thought it was a really cool game. I don't know if any of you all have had a chance to play it or watch any videos about it, but curious to hear what you think about it.
Yeah, I had actually done crowdsource funding for it before Reach. Okay. So I want to say 2 years ago is probably when I first heard about it, and so I did some of the funding and then went and played the beta. And I like Assassin's Creed, so the whole time travel scenario, going back in time, those kinds of things. The stealth sneaking around is my favorite part of it. Although I like, ganking people. I don't think I'm going to do that in Gate Zero. But you don't know. Maybe they'll sneak it in somewhere where you've got to slip somebody some, sleeping, knock them out or something like that. But I haven't played it recently. I went back in after Reach and played it again. I'll say maybe 6 months after Reach last year. And they had added a whole new section to it. I really like how they have it set up where there are some plaques and some things that you can read and learn, but you can play the game without any of that. So it's not putting it in your face that, oh, I got to go learn all of these historical things. It's, I can learn those. They enhance my experience with it while I'm doing some things in the game. And then I'm going around just like I like to do of, I collect all these things. I can do these side stuff. I can pay no attention to the plot and do what I want. It had a whole bunch of that kind of stuff that was fun.
Yeah. Anybody else had a chance to look at it, have an opinion on it? I'll chime in, but I don't want to take away anybody else's points if anybody else wants to chat about it.
Well, I wasn't at Reach last year, so this will be my first year going. So I wasn't able to see the the demo or anything like that, but I have seen the cinematic trailer and the gameplay trailer, and I'm very intrigued. And like he was saying, it's very reminiscent of like the Assassin's Creed style game, just the flashback in time and the learning of historical events and of actual historical people. And I'm really curious to see just how well put together it is, because just based off of like the trailers that I've seen, it looks like it's a AAA. It almost looks like it came from a AAA studio, which is very impressive.
It was actually supposed to have already been released, and they did not want to release it prematurely and have it be, we did not deliver So I'm actually happy that they said, "Hey, wait, we're going to go back. We're going to get more funding. We're going to keep developing this so that it becomes a great game, not just a biblical game."
Mm-hmm.
So, and
That's
I
so
really respect that.
refreshing.
They want it to be a great game to play. The
Mm.
biblical is there. It's going to shine through in kind of like, the same way that Assassin's Creed pulls on historic things, but then goes off wherever else. This will be more true to the Bible as far as historical. But yeah, it should have been out. I want to say last December, and they said no, we're not doing it. We're gonna
Not
keep
yet.
working on it.
That's good to hear.
It's cool. Yeah, cool decision. We got to play it. I think it was early last year. One of the versions of the demo, and same thing. It's like, oh, this is cool. All the collectibles, all the kind of high quality graphics, and I remember not playing long though. We just had a short amount of time with it. But again,
Mhm.
looking at the trailers and looking at the cinematics, I was like, oh, they're putting a lot of money to make it that really high bar of excellence. So that is super cool to hear. Number one, they're waiting to make it really good, because then
Mm-hmm.
if it just launches as a really good game, that alone is like, wow. I think it's not really been done yet for any Christians making games. They make decent games, but there's never been a really good high excellence game yet. So that'd be cool.
If you haven't played it, I know they had it for one feature. I don't know if they're going to add more, but they had a feature where your friend can pull out their phone and help you play the game.
Ooh.
Yeah, there's like a
Wow.
couch
So
co-op
so they
kind of
had a
thing.
thing where you've got to rescue some sheep from the potential of wolves, and your friend can pull up the phone and distract the wolves and throw rocks at the wolves or something along those lines while you're rescuing the sheep. And I'm curious to see if they add more of those, because that would be kind of cool that somebody
Mm-hmm.
who's just like, you're streaming it and the people that are watching you stream it could participate in the game while you're streaming. I think that'd be so much fun.
Yeah,
That
that
would
There's a
be
couple.
really cool.
It'd be cool. There's a
that
couple
has a
Mario
lot of
games that do that. Where
potential.
you're like a side character. You're not a second main character. You're just a
Right.
helper. That would
Yeah.
be sweet, especially if it's audiences. Dude, that'd be so cool.
Yeah. Well, I know, like, when I played, the only one that I played most of the way through was Assassin's Creed 2. And my wife sat and watched me play it. She was like, this is really neat, like how it's very historically accurate and stuff like that. And if she could have had like a device where she could, like, chime in every once in a while and do something to help, I think that would have been cool too. So yeah, I'm excited for that feature. I forgot about that. Yeah. When I played it, I played the demo. It was probably over a year ago that I played the beta for it, and I was just surprised. And I mentioned it to Eunice at Reach, who was the employee there, that I was kind of
Oh, yeah.
surprised by how empty the city was. I was like, I thought it was going to be more of a bustling, like the market and stuff like that. And you see the market, and there was like 6 people. And I'm like, is it going to be more full when it comes out? And she's like, oh yeah, we're working on, like, that's part of the process, part of the development is that there's going to be more going on in the city. So I'm looking forward to seeing that part more fleshed out, because what to me, like, makes a game feel more in depth, or more not consuming isn't the right word, but like you're in it, immersive. Thank you. I'm gonna do, every episode's gonna be like this. I'm gonna go and then one of you guys are gonna have to shout out the word. We'll make it a game. Immersive is, that there's stuff there to interact with, and there's, crowds to try and walk through and stuff like that. And yeah, I think it would be interesting to see if they could introduce combat in some way, even if it wasn't player versus person, like, you're not actually wrestling or fighting with the guards, but maybe a lion or something like that, or some sort of other, way that they introduce some sort of a combat kind of theme to it, or ability.
Yeah.
I think that would be neat. So yeah, I'm excited to see. I'm glad that they're, like you said, going back to the development and working on it to make it really good. Because yeah, that was one of the things I think they had on their website, was that they really want it to be like a AAA title.
So I really value story in games too. So I like the premise they've gone with, because it's so hard. Historical fiction gaming is very difficult to do and pull off, because history happened a certain way. And so you can't play as the main historical figures because the player needs agency, and if the player deviates from what happened in history, you've got a problem. So like Assassin's Creed did it approach that, you know, pretty creatively, like, okay, you're playing a simulation of the past, and like gamifying the whole how close to accurate history were you playing, like it wraps in that whole meta of, you know, this shouldn't have happened, that like this the scoring thing, which I think is really neat. And so the fact that they're kind of playing with a similar premise of like you're from the future, you're going back in time, and you're adjacent to the historical events as opposed to reliving them as like one of the apostles or something, like really helps with the suspension of disbelief, being able to tell a good story without being a Bible scholar that learned all the languages and read every translation and stuff, and will hopefully help ground it for a modern audience to like really feel kind of experience in a more grounded way what that time period is like. Because at least for me, because that time period is kind of exclusively to behind the pulpit talks, it's really hard for me to imagine it in a humanized, relatable way. Now, there's some movies and stuff that have pulled it off, and like
House
the
of
Bible
David.
Project exists. I haven't seen that one.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, it's just like I don't know. I think it'll be neat. Good to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll
Very
be
exciting.
interesting to see where do they put Jesus at all in the storyline that you can interact, or the disciples, or Paul. How and where do they have any of those elements cross? Like, hey, do you end up actually wandering into the feeding of the 5,000 at some point? I mean, you know, do you end up, you know, witnessing the crucifixion or the resurrection? Do they put any of those elements in there? Would be fascinating. I have no idea what they're doing as far as those things go.
Yeah. I
especially if it ends up being backdrop.
I had thought that it was
just-
just before the time that Jesus entered the city on Palm Sunday, but I could be mixing that up with another show or a movie or a game that I heard about. But I thought that Gate Zero started just before that, but I can't remember exactly. I know when you first walk up to the city, the guy talking to you, he's like, "Oh, this is the gate. This is where Jesus enters the city," which was a cool thing to hear, and you'd get to read the little plaques all over the place. It was very cool. Sorry, did you
Pretty
have?
sure in the trailer for the game they show Jesus like flipping the tables at the temple or whatever. It's pretty
I
great to
think you're right.
see.
I think you're right.
That'll be awesome. Maybe you can like grab a whip and like help
What
him.
is that, John, where he does it at the beginning of his ministry instead of the synoptics where he does it, you know, when he's in Jerusalem for the, you know, it's like, which one of the times is that? So,
All right. Well, good
Cool.
good talk. I'm
Has anyone
Go ahead.
has anyone heard of a price point for this game yet?
no, I haven't actually. No. I wonder though, because they
Because
did
I
a
figured if it was
Kickstarter.
supposed to come out.
I think they did a Kickstarter, right? It could be on if that
yeah, they
page
did
is still up.
Kickstarter. I don't know if it is. Like I said, I did it a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And they had several different levels of if you did this, then you would get a copy of the game, you know, when it released or some things like that. And it's been too long ago to remember what those were.
Yeah, I know some will say like you get it for this many dollars, and beside it in brackets it will say, you know, MSRP is going to be this much. So I wonder if that's on there somewhere, but I haven't. I actually haven't taken note of that. I figured I'd just buy it no matter what it costs, you know, as long as it's not $150. Yeah, so we'll keep an eye out on that. Bible X Games is the company, and the game is called Gate Zero, and I think the demo is still available on Steam if you download it on Steam.
I think so.
Actually, I'm reading right now. They posted this exactly 11 days ago. They took down the prototype to update it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Thank you to everyone who has been playing our prototypes. The response has been overwhelming. We are so grateful for your interest. It's been nearly 2 years since the prototype was first uploaded. And then it goes on to say that development on Gate Zero has progressed significantly since then, and the prototype you've experienced is rather outdated compared to where the game is at now.
Oh, cool. Good.
I mean, you
No
try
new,
the new.
so no new demo for now, but they're working towards continuing development.
Especially for such a big game. That's gonna take a few years.
Yeah.
What's the average for AAA's? I think it's 5 years.
Mm.
Well,
Oh,
it depends on if you're a rock star or not. Then it's 20 decades.
yes, totally. Then there's the special games.
Fun fact: GTA 6 has taken longer and more money to build than the Burj Khalifa.
Wow.
That's interesting.
Wow.
Oh, it'll make more money in the first week though than the Burj Khalifa has ever done in its lifetime.
That is true.
No,
That is
no.
very true.
That's funny.
Remember that was one of the launch day. No, was it 2 days after launch for GTA 4 or 5? Anyways, it had $2 billion. I was like, yep, not bad.
Probably was 5. It wouldn't surprise me if it was 5.
Yeah, it's crazy money. Yep.
Awesome. Well, I think that's it for our topics for our first episode. And I just want to thank you all again for coming in and hanging out and chatting with me. If you want to, as we outro, maybe if you guys want to mention again, just like where you can be found online, and then we'll hit our intro song and reuse it as an outro song here and finish up our recording. So go ahead, Sammy.
Well, if you're looking for me online, I'm on most places as Captain Gray. I'm not very active though, so yeah. I'm sometimes on Twitch, whatever. Discord.
Discord.
All right. I am in most places as Flat Cap Dapper Pastor. That's the easiest to find me. I also have one Dapper Koi Pond if you want to watch some nature, sunrise, sunsets, things like that. And The Church Digital over on Twitch. I stream over there doing a podcast and some gaming. And if you want to check out thechurch.digital, you can find me over there on their Discord and teaching and helping people be digital missionaries.
Sweet.
Awesome. I'm on Discord mostly, and we have some socials for Pixelite Games, but we have to ramp all that back up. So you can find out more about what we're working on at echodon.world. Otherwise, find you on Discord.
Cool.
And then you can find me everywhere as NYT Xsaber or just Xsaber. But I'm primarily on Twitch.
Awesome. And
Since we were talking about the number of ways to pronounce that, I actually thought it was New York, Texas Saber. So
So if Born Again doesn't mind, I can delve into the origin.
yeah, for sure. Go for it.
Lore.
So I started a podcast myself about 3 years ago, and I was racking my brain trying to figure out what I was going to call it. And my friend jokingly said, "Well, it probably shouldn't be your typical everyday podcast." So I was like, "Oh, that's perfect. I'll just call it Not Your Typical Christian Podcast." And so it's just like, all right, well, my brand has always been tied to Saber of some sort, so I'll just go NYT, and everyone uses X for spaces, so I'll just NYT X Saber.
Not your
And
typical
it's
Saber.
just turned into
Typical
that.
the X isn't Cairo for Christ. So not your typical Christian. X works for that.
Oh, it does. That's true.
Nice.
Yo,
awesome.
We could probably
the
figure the third
layers.
one.
Yeah.
The layers that.
Oh,
good.
well, yeah. You get into nerdy Christian stuff. I'm all on top of that. So
We'll start working on the Saber lore. I'll start writing it.
Yeah.
there you go.
That's awesome. Well, you can find me pretty much everywhere that I am. I'm not on every social media platform, but if I am there, it's the Born Again Gamer or Born Again Gamer on like Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, YouTube, all that stuff. And this has been Saved Games episode 1. And I'm gonna hit the little outro button here, and I'll let you guys go.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great night.
Bye. Bye now. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Have fun.
Have
Bye-bye.
fun stirring the castle.